Kaifeng, the capital of the northern Song dynasty. A city that has never truly slept. By day, it dazzles in the cries of street vendors, the glow of lanterns, and the endless tide of people flowing through its avenues. By night, it quietly buries secrets no one dares to name. Beneath those prosperous streets, the Zhonghu exists alongside the imperial court. Blades hide beneath plain robes. Schemes hide behind polite congratulations and smiling toasts. Kaifeng is not a place where heroes come to make a name for themselves. It is a place where fate grinds people down before they even realize they've stepped onto a chessboard with no way out. And here, this is where the winds of destiny begin to meet. Yes, in this city, you encounter people driven by different purposes, officials of the court, merchants chasing profit, wanderers of the Zhonghu walking their own shadowed paths. Each of them carries a goal carved deep into their heart, and after meeting them, you slowly come to understand something profound. Heroes like Tian Ying are not rare. He is not the only protagonist. Anyone with strength, anyone with conviction, is doing something, in their own way, for this broken world. After defeating Lord Shai and helping Kaifeng survive its crippling currency crisis, your name is finally cleared. The suspicion that once followed you like a curse fades away. You are praised as a contributor to the city's salvation. And yet, you know the truth. You are only a piece on someone else's board. But what choice did you have? You are still too inexperienced, too young to see the whole game. After parting with Ying Ying, you plan to visit Velvet Shade the next day, hoping to uncover Aunt Han's whereabouts, just as Ying Ying suggested. For now, you decide to rest, to find a luxurious inn, to reward yourself with a fine meal. Just one peaceful evening in a city that never truly rests. You are directed to the famous food street in the southwest of Kaifeng. But when you arrive, you see flames ahead. A man desperately clutches a shop sign while a woman screams at him, warning you to stay back. She shouts that the sign brings death. For a moment, you think you misheard. A sign that kills people? It sounds absurd. Still, you don't think too much of it. Instinct moves faster than reason. You rush forward and pull two people out of the fire. The flames die down, but their argument does not. The woman keeps shouting, and slowly, through the chaos, you begin to understand. This shop has brought them nothing but misfortune. 2 days ago, their son fell into the lake. Yesterday, the man was ambushed. He barely escaped with his life. The woman, too furious and too afraid to notice anything else, is his wife. And all she wants is for him to sell the shop to protect what remains of their family. You cannot step into a husband and wife quarrel. Some wounds are too personal, too raw. So instead, you turn to the surrounding townspeople, quietly listening. That is when you learn the man's name, Zhong Kong. The shop belongs to him. Though everything points to the shop as the source of disaster, he refuses to sell it. His friend, Lu San, even found a buyer willing to pay a generous price. But Hong Kong still says no, because this shop is his mother's legacy. And suddenly, the situation no longer feels simple. A Feng Shui master claims the sign brings death. Strange accidents keep happening. Mysterious income flows in and out. This is no ordinary family dispute. This is a case wrapped in superstition, grief, stubborn pride, and perhaps something darker. Honestly, even Justice Bao himself, Bao Zhang, the legendary symbol of fairness, might not solve this easily. And as you stand there, watching the smoke curl into the night sky of Kaifeng, you realize once again, in this city, even something as small as a shop sign can become the beginning of a storm. Rumors begin to spread. Some say the shop sign will claim another life at noon tomorrow. And somehow, not by coincidence, someone hires you to join a mourning procession that already seems to know someone is going to die. Paid to watch a drama unfold? Why not? The next day, they carry a corpse straight to Hong Kong's shop and loudly accuse the couple. They claim Hong Kong sold spoiled food that killed their sworn brother. As if that weren't enough, Rotten vegetables mysteriously appear inside Hong Kong's house, as though fate itself is condemning him. The group wails as if they've lost their own father. But something feels wrong. You look closer at the body. He's still breathing. Not dead, just immobilized, as if struck by a pressure point. The moment they see you about to expose the trick, they panic. The tears stop instantly. They hurriedly gather their things and scatter. You follow the trail. Soon enough, you spot the dead man sitting comfortably with his companions, celebrating. Among them are the Feng Shui master and Lu San. They laugh and drink, unaware that you've heard everything. It was Lord Wang. He hired them to orchestrate this entire scheme, to force Hong Kong into selling his shop. Lu San helped stage everything. The rumor about the deadly sign, the fake death, even sneaking rotten food into Hong Kong's home. You step forward. You raise a cup and toast them sarcastically. Then you knock them all to the ground. You tie Lu San up and drag him through the streets of Kaifeng, exposing everything to the public. The crowd gathers. Whispers turn into outrage. You accuse Lord Wang, the wealthy man hiding behind curtains, of being rich without mercy. You expose Lu San, a man willing to destroy his childhood friend for money. Then you drag him back to Hong Kong's home. Faced with no escape, Lu San confesses. Recently, the government had confiscated funds. Hong Kong was struggling financially. Through Lu San, Lord Wang arranged a banquet and ordered expensive ingredients. Hong Kong borrowed money to prepare everything. But Lord Wang never showed up. The food rotted in the kitchen. Hong Kong planned to eat it himself rather than waste it. Instead, people stormed his door, accusing him of killing someone with spoiled food. The truth is painfully simple. The shop's location is too good. As long as Zhong Hong Kong keeps it, powerful men will never leave him in peace. Lu San, his childhood friend, knew exactly how much the shop meant to him. So he helped Lord Wang set a deadly trap. If Hong Kong sold the shop, Lu San would earn money. Hong Kong would gain peace. At least, that's what they told themselves. But Zhong Hong Kong refused. Why? Because of a banquet. A banquet his mother accepted 15 years ago. He wants to complete the feast she never finished, a farewell banquet interrupted by massacre when the Khitan army descended upon the city. You remember the stories. 16 years ago, around the time you were just born, General Wang Qing fell in battle. Du Chongwei surrendered to the Khitan. Their armies swept south, looting and slaughtering the people of the Central Plains. A year later, they approached Kaifeng. War was everywhere. Fear was everywhere. People wanted to flee, to find somewhere, anywhere, to survive. At that time, everyone hoped Hong Kong's mother would hold a farewell banquet, so neighbors and friends could say goodbye properly. On the night of the feast, people gathered. But before they could even sit down, flames consumed everything. The banquet never happened. The living and the dead fell together in chaos. Families were torn apart forever in that single night of invasion. Many died. Many disappeared and never returned. That night, young Hong Kong happened to meet Liu Xian, alone, homeless, motherless, just like him. They had both lost their mothers. He took her in. Later, he married her. Recently, someone returned his mother's belongings. Among them, her special recipe. So he decided he would finish that banquet to welcome his mother and everyone who was lost that night home. Liu Xian breaks down. She is angry. She is exhausted. They are poor. They have children. They cannot afford to chase ghosts of the past. She doesn't want their son to grow up struggling the way they did. But Hong Kong insists. His mother's recipe for locust leaf noodles has come back to him. When he was a child, he loved the sound of wind rustling through the trees. Now, when he hears leaves fall, it only makes him cry, because it reminds him of his mother, a woman who gave up everything for him. The wind cannot be stopped, but at least it carried her things back. So whether the dead truly return or not, even if he must borrow money from every corner of the city, the feast will be held. After hearing all of that, your chest feels unbearably heavy. You walk slowly toward a large tree nearby, hoping the wind might clear your thoughts. Beneath its branches, a blind little girl named Yungran is surrounded by children, telling them a story with bright excitement in her voice. She says that in Kaifeng, there stands an immortal tree, and on that tree grows a single golden leaf. The other children laugh at her. They call her a liar. If it's real, then where is the leaf? She lifts her face slightly and answers softly. The wind stole it. You tell her that you believe her, but she smiles faintly. She knows you're only pretending. Even so, she doesn't expose you. She walks herself home guided only by sound, calmly naming each stall and street corner as she passes them. The tofu vendor on the left, the tea stall at the bend, the uneven stone near the bridge. Listening to her, you suddenly realize she may not see the world, but she knows it more intimately than most. On the way, she tells you more about the immortal tree. Long ago, she says, there was a golden leaf on it that shone like moonlight. If someone could find that leaf and hang it back onto the tree, an immortal hero would appear and grant them one wish. At this point, you can't help but think, perhaps it's unwise to take children's tales too seriously. Then she quietly tells you something else. Her father went out to buy her a birthday gift, lotus pastries, and never returned. But a neighbor later pulls you aside and whispers the truth. Yongran's birthday passed several days ago. Her father has been missing ever since. And just like that, your instincts awaken again. You realize Yongran isn't chasing a fantasy. She's searching for the golden leaf because she wants to make a wish for her father to come home. You begin to investigate. It turns out that Kaifeng truly does have a tree called the immortal tree. When you find it, the sight stops you in your tracks. The tree looks charred, as if it had once been swallowed by flames. Not a single leaf grows from its branches. It has stood here for many years, and it was burned during the Khitan invasion of Kaifeng. Yet after the Khitan were driven away and the city was rebuilt, something miraculous happened. New leaves sprouted again from its blackened branches. So the people named it the immortal tree, a tree that refused to die. You are deep in thought when suddenly an old man cries out, "He's been pickpocketed." Without hesitation, your sense of righteousness takes over. You chase the thief and catch him quickly. His name is Joe Argo. Instead of thanking you for sparing him, he curses at you, telling you that since you're new here, you should mind your own business. You can't help but blink. It's the first time you've caught a thief who scolds you for interfering. While searching him, you notice something on his person, a golden leaf. For a moment, you wonder, could he be the one who stole Yongran's leaf? But he snorts and tells you to look around. Many people in Kaifeng have golden leaves. He's right. As you observe more closely, you see that quite a few townsfolk carry similar leaves, and they treasure them dearly. Is this some new trend? Or is there more to it? You return to the immortal tree and give the old man back his stolen belongings. Then you ask him about Yongran's father. He doesn't answer directly. Instead, he points you toward a nearby storytelling competition. He suggests that if you're looking for someone in this city, that might be the place to start. On your way there, you spot Joe Argo again, lurking on a rooftop. You catch him a second time and question him. This time, the truth spills out. He was trying to steal a storybook from the house below. His younger sister used to hear stories every year on her birthday. But now their parents are too busy struggling to survive. As an older brother who only knows how to steal, he thought, at the very least, he could steal a story and tell it to her. Before you can respond, the homeowner, who overheard everything, steps outside. Instead of calling the guards, she gently lends Joe Argo a few books. Joe Argo takes them and hurries away, embarrassed but relieved. Before leaving, he throws one last piece of information over his shoulder. Zhong Kong's son has been asking neighbors to collect leaves, golden leaves, to use as ingredients for the banquet noodles. And suddenly, everything begins to connect. The golden leaves, the immortal tree, the banquet meant to welcome the lost home. In Kaifeng, Even the smallest leaf seems to carry the weight of longing. You're slightly surprised to hear that the key ingredient in Hong Kong's mother's noodles comes from leaves. But at this point, nothing in Kaifeng surprises you anymore. So you let it go. Not long after, you help another restaurant owner who seems to be facing the same kind of pressure Hong Kong once endured, forced to sell, cornered by invisible hands that squeeze without mercy. It's becoming a pattern. Then you cross paths with Dr. Fu Wenchu. Because of the Tang coin crisis, he has taken in many homeless people at his clinic, treating them without asking for payment. But in recent days, whenever he goes out to gather herbs, he's been ambushed and beaten by local thugs. Kindness, it seems, has a price in this city. Later, you encounter Joar Go's younger sister. She is unusual. Instead of despising thieves, she analyzes their skills. She even sounds proud when she talks about her brother being a master thief. There's no shame in her voice, only admiration. When you escort her home, you learn the truth. Her family recently lost their shop as well. They're barely surviving now. She stole a neighbor's lantern, not out of greed, but because she hoped that lighting it would make her family smile again, like they used to during better times. You can't decide whether to scold her or feel sorry for her. Probably both. Not long after, you rescue another young girl from kidnappers. She, too, has been helping Hong Kong's son gather leaves from the immortal tree. The children here are strange. They are innocent, yet painfully aware. Carefree, yet deeply compassionate. They share what little they have. They help without being asked. Sometimes, it feels like the adults are the ones who've forgotten how to care. Soon, the entire neighborhood gathers at an old man's house. A young man has returned, carrying news and the legacy of Hong Kong's mother. He once fled Kaifeng alongside her when the Canton army ravaged the city. He witnessed her final days. She was ill. She had lost her son in the chaos. She endured endless days of fleeing. In the end, her body simply gave out. Before she died, she wanted to pass on her cooking recipe so that one day it could be returned to Hong Kong. But none of them knew how to write. So Zhang Hong Kong's aunt drew the recipe instead, sketching each step, each ingredient, turning memory into fragile lines on paper. And even in her final days, his mother kept repeating the smallest details of how to prepare the noodles just right, how long to knead the dough, how gently to blanch the leaves, how the broth should taste like wind through spring trees. When Hong Kong hears this, he trembles. You can see it, the way his lips tighten, the way his eyes redden. He suddenly turns and leaves. But you know he's not running away. He's simply looking for a place where he can cry alone. The neighbors have gathered some money. Not much, but enough. They ask you to give it to Hong Kong to help him hold the banquet. Because they want it too. They want a gathering to welcome back those who were lost, and to remember those who never returned. Recently, thanks to your righteous actions, driving away the thugs who once haunted these streets, the neighborhood has become lively again, peaceful, full of laughter. For the first time in a long while, Kaifeng feels warm. You feel a quiet pride. Perhaps you cannot change the entire world, but you have helped this small corner of it. You hand Hong Kong the money. He uses it to buy the ingredients. Then you step forward, displaying the confidence of a master chef, and cook the locust leaf noodles precisely according to his mother's illustrated recipe. Every step is flawless, every measurement exact. You serve it to him, and in return, you receive a strange look. It's not right. The taste is wrong. It doesn't taste like the noodles he remembers. And in that moment, you realize something that no recipe can capture. Some flavors are not written in ink. They live only in memory. So you and Hong Kong take the illustrated recipe to visit his aunt, hoping she can clarify the small details drawn on the page. After teasing him for quite some time about his embarrassing childhood stories, she finally reveals the secret. The special flavor of the noodles comes from locust leaves that must be picked after the rain, and only in the afternoon. There is a certain softness to leaves washed by rain, a certain fragrance that only appears when sunlight returns. You follow her instructions carefully. You use the freshest leaves you can find. But still, when Hong Kong tastes the noodles, he slowly shakes his head. It's not the same. No matter how perfect the technique, no matter how precise the steps, it doesn't taste like his mother's cooking. For a moment, a wild thought crosses your mind. Could it be that only leaves from the immortal tree can recreate that flavor? You run into Lu San again. Strangely enough, even after ruining Lord Wang's plan, he's still alive. Lucky man. He tells you that before it was burned, the immortal tree was no different from any other tree. Its leaves were the same as the rest. Now you're even more confused. Everyone says something different. Every answer leads to another question. You then meet Zhou Wan, who grew up playing with Hong Kong and Lu San. She tells you that as children, the three of them used to wander around the docks. Hong Kong's mother would often come there to gather locust leaves while waiting for them. But she also laughs and adds something else. Back then, Hong Kong had his eyes on a certain girl. So he would secretly take on extra jobs after school to earn money. That detail catches your attention. Soon you notice that Liu Shan, Hong Kong's wife, has been quietly following you. Instead of confronting her, you invite her along to the place where Hong Kong once worked part-time. At a small jewelry shop, the owner tells you the rest.
15 years ago, he worked here. The story goes that someone made fun of his mother's old hairpin and plain clothes. So he decided to work and save up to buy her a new hairpin. One day, when he came to pick up some goods, he was running, looking really anxious. He said he was leaving and wouldn't be in Kaifeng anymore. He said his lifelong dream was to make it on his own out there. But before he could leave, the Chitans attacked Tianjin Dock and set it on fire. I told him to stay inside and hide, but he dashed straight into the flames in a flash. I was shocked. That hairpin. I don't even know if he ever managed to give it to her.
Now you understand. Hong Kong never went straight home after school because he was working, saving money to buy gifts for his mother. The thought makes your chest ache. It reminds you of your own childhood when Aunt Han cared for you. Those days, how bright they were. Back in the present, Hong Kong and his wife still cannot recreate the taste of his mother's noodles. And you refuse to give up. You visit a tea house to investigate the legend of the immortal tree and the golden leaf. But instead, you uncover something unexpected. 15 years ago, a swordsman came to Kaifeng after hearing rumors that a tavern owner was preparing a banquet for the Khitan. At first, he believed the tavern owner to be a traitor. But in truth, the banquet was a trap meant to kill the Khitan soldiers. The swordsman and the tavern owner fought side by side and wiped them out. Afterward, they drank together. As you read this story, a strange familiarity washes over you. It reminds you of Yi Dao telling you about Chu Qingquan. Perhaps it's the same story. Or perhaps just another pair of nameless heroes. Later in the tale, the two men encountered a beggar who risked his life rushing toward the tavern, desperate to find food for his dying brother. Instead of driving him away, they invited him to join the feast. The next morning, all that remained at the scene was a golden leaf. Your instincts flare again. You sneak into the government archives and search through old case records. There are countless incidents involving golden leaves. And finally, the truth becomes clear.
There are no gold leaves, no immortal swordsman. The leaves are just made of grass, and the swordsman is every person in the world. And here I was, almost believing some kid's wild story.
Many people crafted golden leaves out of grass. They used them to impersonate the immortal swordsman, to secretly fight against the Khitan and those who aided them. That way, the real immortal swordsman could never be identified. The golden leaf was never about magic. It was about courage, about ordinary people choosing to stand up. You return to Yung Ran's house, intending to tell her the truth. But when you see her small figure, sitting quietly and waiting, you hesitate. Telling her might shatter the only hope she has left. So you choose another way. The next day, You meet Yung Ran by the riverside. You place a golden leaf in her hands. Of course, it's made of grass. Fortunately, she cannot see, she can only touch. She runs her fingers across its surface. She hesitates for a moment, sensing that some of her father's stories don't quite match what others say. But with the golden leaf in her hands, she believes her father will come home soon. After talking for a while, she suddenly asks you something simple. Why are you always wandering alone? Why don't you go home? Aren't you afraid your family will worry? The question hits you like a blade. Your throat tightens. Your heart aches. You don't have a home anymore. And you don't even know if your family is still alive. For a moment, you almost break. Then Yung Ran whispers softly.
Your family's still worried about you. Just somewhere else. That's all.
Maybe she's right. Somewhere out there, Uncle John and Aunt Han must still be worrying about you. The thought doesn't erase the pain, but it warms you just enough, like a small leaf, trembling in the wind, refusing to fall. By chance, you run into the young woman who once lent Joe Argo a few storybooks, and this time, she's being harassed by thugs. You step in and drive them away. Kaifeng's current state has made even food a luxury. She hasn't eaten properly in days. As the generous young master that you are, you go buy some food and personally deliver it to her. She is deeply grateful, so grateful that she doesn't know how to repay you. For a moment, she even thinks about offering herself in return. You immediately stop her and tell her that returning the favor with the storybook she gave Joe Argo earlier would be more than enough. What a waste of a romance subplot, right? Only then do you open the book Joe Argo shared with you. It tells the story of a beggar who was lured by the smell of food into a Khitan banquet. Something unexpected happened there, though the exact details hardly matter at first glance. The young woman explains that this book was a gift from that very beggar to her father. 15 years ago, the beggar came to him and begged to be taught how to read and write. Why would a beggar need literacy? Because that night, he had been drawn by hunger to the Khitan banquet. By sheer luck, he was saved by two immortal heroes and even shared a meal with them. He wanted to repay them, but he owned nothing of value, nothing but his life. One of the heroes told him, "Then save another life." And so he did. Later, he rescued a blind child. Strange, isn't it? You've recently come to know a blind child as well. Someone once said that raising a child requires telling them stories. The beggar wanted to write down the story of that night, the night he met the immortal heroes. That's why he wanted to learn to read and write. Some debts are repaid not with gold, but with stories. Later, you meet Joe Argo's mother again. She seems clearer-headed now. She wants to buy a new shop and start over. Without hesitation, you gift her 0.06% of your total wealth to help her get started. It's a tiny fraction for you, but in Kaifeng, it's enough to change a life. You're simply far too rich compared to the average citizen here. As you continue wandering the streets, you encounter more broken lives woven into Kaifeng's fabric. A father who steals just to keep food on the table. His son, watching him, dreams of becoming a thief too, because to him, stealing means survival. It means his mother can afford medicine. Then there's a young boy wandering alone, searching for his mother. His father told him she is in a very high and faraway place. So the boy asks you to take him to the highest point in Kaifeng, believing that from there, he'll be closer to her. Later, you discover the truth. His father has been contemplating suicide, overwhelmed by grief for his deceased wife. He longs to taste locust leaf noodles again because his happiest memories, his entire family's warmth, are tied to that single dish. Thankfully, you talk sense into him. You reunite father and son. Another small corner of Kaifeng, saved from collapse. You then meet a young man who claims to possess a miraculous porridge recipe, one that can revive the dying. After investigating, you uncover the truth. As a child, he hated taking medicine. So his mother secretly mixed herbs into his porridge. To make him eat it willingly, She told him the porridge was made from leaves of the immortal tree, that it could heal any illness. 15 years ago, his mother helped prepare the unfinished banquet. On the night the Khitan invaded, he found her gravely wounded. Desperate, he asked her for the porridge recipe, believing that if it could cure all sickness, it could save her too. But she never had such a recipe. Now, learning the truth, he breaks down in tears. He feels foolish. But you understand something he doesn't yet. It was never about magical leaves. It was about a mother who would say anything, do anything, to protect her child from fear. In Kaifeng, legends are born from love, from hunger, from grief, from people trying to survive the unbearable. And as you walk through these streets, you begin to realize the immortal tree was never truly immortal. The heroes were never truly divine. What survives, what refuses to die, is the way people hold on to each other. Rumors spread quickly through Kaifeng. Ran had found a golden leaf. People gathered to see it with their own eyes. But when they did, disappointment followed. To them, it was nothing more than a grass-woven leaf, a child's toy, a fragile illusion. Fortunately, you arrived in time. With just a few words, you made the crowd understand something simple, perhaps too simple for adults blinded by hardship to see. Even if it is only hope, it belongs to her. And it is better to let Ran keep that hope, the hope that one day she might find her father. You then bring Ran to Kong's house. Inside, Liu Shen has prepared dinner, locust leaf noodles. When Kong takes the first bite, he freezes. The flavor. It's the taste he has been searching for all this time, his mother's taste. Liu Shen explains that she followed the recipe carefully, but after finishing the noodles, neither Kong nor their son had returned home. She was worried the noodles would lose their texture if left too long, so she cooled them in well water to keep them fresh. That was exactly how Kong's mother used to prepare them. Suddenly, memories begin to connect. When Kong was young, after school he often ran off to play with Lu San and Zhou Wan. His mother would finish cooking and wait for him to come home. When he didn't, she would stand outside the school gate to catch him. But more often than not, he and his friends would slip away laughing. Sometimes he was truly just playing. But sometimes he was secretly taking small jobs to earn money, to buy gifts for her. To keep the locust leaf noodles from clumping and turning sticky, his mother would cool them carefully. By the time Kong returned home, the noodles had often been waiting for him for 2 full hours. That was the familiar taste. Not the taste of perfection. Not the taste of a chef's timing. But the taste of waiting. The chef only cared about catching the leaf at the perfect moment. But a mother only cares about when her child comes home. Outside, Ran overhears everything. Her eyes shine with joy, because this sounds just like the story she once heard. She says she has seen a hero. Then she tells you to close your eyes. Listen with your ears. And when you do, you understand. Since the day you arrived in Kaifeng, things have slowly changed. You didn't just help individuals, you cleared out the thugs who terrorized the streets. You eased the currency crisis strangling the city. You gave people room to breathe. The sounds you hear now are different. Laughter, merchants bargaining, children running, life returning. To Ran, you are exactly like the Zhonghu hero her father used to tell her about. As for her, the most delicious food in the world isn't noodles. It's locust pastry. For me, it's sweet and sour pork ribs. And for you, what's the most delicious dish in the world? Please leave a comment below. Before you can even decide what your favorite dish in the world is, perhaps the thing that makes you happiest right now isn't food at all. It's a jar of parting tears. You climb onto the rooftop and drink it like a true Zhonghu hero, alone, under the open sky. From above, you watch Kaifeng slowly changing. The streets feel lighter. People laugh more easily. Shops stay open later. There is warmth in the air, the kind that only comes when life is finally becoming stable and full again. And for a moment you allow yourself to feel proud. But not everyone's story is turning brighter. Zhou Wan, Kong's childhood friend, has recently passed away. Before she died, she secretly asked someone to deliver all her remaining ingredients to Hong Kong so that he could host the long-awaited banquet. If only she could have attended it herself. Perhaps even death would not have felt so regretful. Because of Zhou Wan's ingredients, Hong Kong is finally able to hold the banquet at Tianying Dock. Yet almost immediately, the local thugs show up to cause trouble. It seems they never learn. After being beaten by you so many times, you would think they'd know better. But just like before, you make sure they regret ever showing up. And then, the real guests begin to arrive. One by one, families bring their own special homemade dishes. Food prepared with care. Food filled with memory. People gather around the table. They talk about 15 years ago. About those who left. About those who stayed. They remember the ones who sacrificed themselves so that Kaifeng could still stand today. They raise their cups and pray that the people of Kaifeng will never know hunger again. This banquet, it was prepared 15 years ago. And only now, after all this time, is it finally complete. Meanwhile, the story of the immortal swordsman spreads further and further. They say that in Kaifeng, there is a hero who carries a golden leaf. He appears whenever the city is in danger. He grants the wishes of its people. But maybe, a hero does not need to change the world. It is enough to change one life. After the banquet, Yongran returns home and finds her father standing there. He had run into trouble while buying locust pastries and was attacked by criminals. He survived only because Dr. Fu Wenchu treated him in time. And Fu Wenchu himself survived because someone once saved him. Yongran throws herself into her father's arms, overwhelmed with joy. She has so many stories to tell him about the hero she has recently met, about the golden leaf, about hope. Watching the two of them reunite, something suddenly strikes you. There is something important you have forgotten these past few days. And Han. Without hesitation, you set off for Velvet Shade. And maybe, just maybe, in the next video, you will finally uncover her whereabouts.